Hello and welcome. Now, here we're going to be talking a little bit about Jasper reports. And I'm introducing Jasper reports because in our POS application, we would like to print out a PDF file for the receipt. So, in order to create a Jasper report, I use an application called Jaspersoft Studio. And right now, the latest version is 6.20. The community edition is free. So I'm launching it right now. Perfect. So first thing we have to do is, well, create a new document. We're going to create a new Jasper report. We're going to make it a letter. And it's going to save it right now in our workspace. Now, I might not want to do that. Well, I'll eventually move it over to the location in our studio file in our studio application. So right now we'll just place it here for now and move it later. So the file type is JRXML or Jasper Report XML file. We'll later compile this and use the .jasper file to create that. So for now, we'll just save it here in our default workspace. Now a data adapter. Now here we have to create a connection. We're going to press new. We're going to do a database JDBC connection. The driver we're going to be using is going to be MariaDB. Should be around here. Here it is. And the URL, the database is called sales. So if I go back to Navicut, yep, that's the name of my database and it's on my local host. Username is root and I do not have a password, so I want to call my connection app sales. We'll test it and it's good. So I finish. My data adapter is here. Click next. Now it's asking for a query. To do the query, I'll just use Navicut. Navicut has a nice query builder, so I'm gonna drag and drop. So I'll click here in queries. Here's my database connection, queries, new query. And in this place, I'm gonna be using the query builder. And what I want is I want to send the ID of the receipts, and I want to get the list of the products and their costs and their sales prices in the receipt. So I want to drag and drop receipts, and I will want a list of products, and I will want the product. It's pretty much all the database because I also want the name of the client as well to appear. So this is very nice and easy to use. Instead of writing all that SQL code, this speeds up things a bit because it automatically does the inner joins and all the code. So I want the first name, the last name. I also want the transaction date, all the ID of the receipt. And here's going to show me the list of all the products. So I just want the quantity, the price it was sold, and for the product, the name. So let's go back to our, and oh yeah, I want to be able to filter, and here in the where clause, where a receipt is equal to, I think I have receipt number 1 in there. So just to have a where clause in there. So if we go back to the query editor, you can see on my select statement is pretty much done. So let's run it. Okay, I might not have receipt 1. So let's check over here in the receipts. I do have receipt 1, so I might not have a product assigned to it. Let me check on the list. Yeah, receipt 1 doesn't have any product, so it's coming out empty. That's okay, we'll just use receipt 2, that's fine. Yeah, because otherwise would have to do a left join, but it's not going to return anything because there are no products in that receipt. We press run, now we do have something useful. So receipt number 2 was sold to Jane. It was sold on this date. The receipt ID is this one, the quantities, the price, and the name of the product. So this query is pretty good. We're just going to copy it over to our Jasper, paste it, Okay, we're gonna later change this into a parameter, but we're gonna leave it like that for now. Okay, I want to show all the fields. That's next. I don't want to do any group bys. That's good, and we'll finish it. So I should be presented with a blank sheet here, and now I have an outline here. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to set up a parameter. I'm going to do a create parameter. This is going to be the ID report, or ID receipt, sorry, receipt, and it's going to be an integer. Here it is, java.lang integer, perfect. And it's going to prompt me the value when I try to run it, so that's good. So now I have a parameter. If I have to edit my query, I can do that by clicking this button here, and I'm going to delete that, and I can barely see the little panel here, but if I scroll down here, I see the parameters in here. So now I have to go down, and here's my ID receipt. So I'll drag and drop that in here. Okay, it's complaining about that extraneous input. Yes, that's okay. Alright, so my query should be able to run. Now I want to put the fields in here. So I'm going to make a really quick, a rough looking receipt. So I'm going to do dragging some static text. Just going to say sales receipt. And I want it to be centered, bold, centered in here, and big size. Great. And here I'll put here in the title panel, I'm going to put the client's name. So let's put on fields first name and last name. I'd like to put that together in one. So I will do just gonna modify my query a bit. Concat with separator. The separator is going to be the space. And this is going to be as client name. Okay. We're going to do reread fields. So now it's called client name. Okay. Now when I drag this in here, I don't need to do any calculation or aggregate functions. It's just going to give me the name of the client. Let's center these things, position this here. I'll put some static text. This is just going to say client colon. I'm going to put it around here. All right. And we're going to center that. And we're going to make it go like that. Okay, perfect. Now we have the client name. The transaction date, I'm going to put the date here, static text, date. And put the text in the middle. Drag and drop the column or the field for transaction date. I don't want any calculation function. Center it. Now the date, I wanted to have a specific format. So I'll click on it and I'll go to text field and pattern. So let's scroll this over to the right, pattern. And I want it to be a date, and I want the date to be shown like this. So it just gives you a nice formatting pattern. So it's good. The other thing is the ID of the receipt. We're gonna put it here. I'm gonna put it there. Put it in the middle. Put some static text in here. Just gonna put ID or number. It's gonna be our sales receipt number. Oops. So number abbreviated. All right. Let's center it. That's good enough. I guess you guys can format it the way you guys need it to. Now I don't need a page header, so I'll remove it. I would like a column header, and the detail is going to be showing a row for each of the products I'm having. So in this report, when I throw in a 2, I should see two detail rows because there were 2 products that were sold. So to achieve that, now I have to get name was the product name, so I could have changed that name better. So I'm gonna move the static text up top, and I'm gonna align it here. So I think that was a little confusing. Let me just redo that. The name is the name of the product, so I'll drag it into the detail. Okay, so now you can see that it put the name in the column accordingly. So I'm just gonna move these things here. This is going to be product name. I'm gonna control click to select both of them, and that's good. Now I'm going to put the quantity right beside this one here. Okay, and the price. Okay, so I'm gonna do just going to align them. I'm gonna control click all of these, and great. Now for the 4th column, I would like to have the multiplication of the quantity and the price. So I will click here on variables, create a variable. I'm going to call this variable var p times price times quantity. Okay. And the type, this is not going to be a string, it's going to be a big decimal. So I'll click on this ellipsis here and select the big decimal. Now the expression, you can see here the expression will be the price, but the price is a big decimal in Java. You can't just put an asterisk for multiplication with big decimal, so you have to use the multiplication method. So when I click here, I can see a couple of functions I can do. So here is my multiply. I double click on that, and I have to multiply with another big decimal. So I have to convert my quantity, which is a long, into a big decimal, and I can do that by clicking on new, writing new, Java Math Big Decimal, and in the parentheses here and the constructor of the big decimal, I will place in the quantity. Okay, so that looks good. The price, multiply, and then I create a new big decimal object that I'm throwing in the quantity in here. Perfect. So now I have my variable. It's called varpq, and it's a big decimal. So I will drag it and drop it in here. I'll just place it where I want it to, and I will add some static text just to put price times quantity. Okay, so I'll double click to make it, and I'm going to center it a bit. So I'm tapping my my right keys on my keyboard to move this here. So I think that looks nice. So I'll click on this and I'll click on preview. So well, it didn't ask me for the parameter because I already had put it. So if I want report number 3, by clicking here I get the parameters. Report number 3, and I press play. So receipt number 3 was sold to John Doe on this date at this time, This is the product, the quantity, price, and the price times quantity, and here's the report. I would also like a variable to give me all the total, and if I need to calculate tax and everything, I will waive that, but I will put out a little total variable down here, so that's pretty easy. Um, I'll just go back to the design. I won't need a column footer or a page. I might want to, yeah, I'll just use the summary. So I'll remove these two. Okay, so I'll collapse this, collapse this, collapse this. I will remove the column footer, and I will remove the page footer, and I want to use the summary for adding that value. And I'm going to be adding the price times quantity. So I want to start off with putting some static text in here. Total. Okay, and okay, so in order to put the total here, I'm going to create another variable. I'm just going to copy paste this one. So just copy, paste it here. And this is going to be total. And the only thing I'm going to change is the calculation function, because right now it's evaluating and it's just printing the value of these two, but now I want a sum function, so it adds, while it's doing the evaluation, it's also adding it. So this sum function will do that. So all I gotta do is drag it and drop it here, and I will center it and put it in the middle, and I will just collapse it. So I think our report is done. Let's try and see if this total is working properly. So let's just put receipt number 3, run it. Okay, so the total is 825 plus 15, and so it's a 2325 total. Great. All right then, so in the next module I'll actually show how to put this file to print out from Studio. So let's save it, and I'll go back to design and make sure I compile it. So when I compile it, it's going to give me this Jasper file, and this is the file I need in Studio. So I hope you enjoyed it. Always keep making me questions and sending me emails about how to make this better. So thank you. See you in the next module.